record to my computer, so that might be easier. Let me turn off my email so I don't get that beeping all the time. All right, dinging. All right, well, it's 10:52. It looks like most people are here. Somebody's saying something in the chat. All right, I think we're gonna get started. Does anybody have any questions right off the bat? I know it's been pretty straightforward. You guys have your drawings? Those of you who just came in? All right, cool. Anybody draw with the rain? Do you have a question, Abigail?
Yes. I was wondering if we should go for simpler drawings or more complex drawings.
That's totally up. That's a good question. It's totally up to you. Whatever you can stomach, whatever is exciting to you. So it's either way. Either way. Good question. Yeah, you can. I'm going to give you some examples today. You can be simple, or you can be really complex or detailed, or when I mean by detailed, it's just a lot of information. So we'll talk about that. All right. So one of my colleagues, those of you who are in Themes in Art History, we did this yesterday, at another school, they opened it with a moment of silence. I thought, let's do the same, just kind of like regroup. Starting a new class today, or this is, we're starting class today. So let's just take like 30 seconds and you can pray, or you can just sit and listen to God. One of my favorite Bible verses during COVID has been, be still and know that I am God, right? But that means you got to be still to do it, right? So let's practice being still for 30 seconds, okay? So we'll start off with 30 seconds of moment of silence. All right. So what we're going to do today, I'd like to start off with some just kind of business items, like just kind of go over some technical things first, okay, before we look at your drawings while we're all fresh. So how many of you, let's see here, do I have you all on my screen here? I think so, let's see. How many of you would be willing to meet in the print shop on Thursday during class time, 10:50? So most of you, let's see, give me a thumbs up so I can count, if you would. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's a little more, that's a lot of you. So we only have room for about 10, maybe 12 people. So maybe what we should do is, let's do this. Let's divide our time in half. Like the class period, our hour and 40 minutes. And I'll have half of you that want to come at 10:50, and then the other half you can come at like 11:40 or something. Because I think I'd like to use this time. And don't worry, those of you who'll be meeting virtually, I'll have a virtual option during that time as well for one of the halves, okay? So those of you who have to meet virtually, not a problem, you'll still be there. It's just that I might cut the time in half so that I can meet with half of you. So how about you guys do this for me? Just as a starting point, those of you who want to come to the print shop in NAS on Thursday at 10:50, email me what your preferred time slot is, 10:50 or 11:40, okay? And then I'll be in communicate with you directly then. That will make it easier, okay? So just send me an email so I have it in a place that I can respond to you. So those of you who don't know my email, it's rplove@unwsp.edu. Okay? So that way we can rotate. So the two options are come at 10:50 or come at 11:40. Sound good? Because there's some things that I want to show you in the print shop that will help you when we get to printing. Right now, all the things that we're doing, you can do at home or wherever you are. When we get to printing, you'll have to set up your home or your dorm room a little bit differently to think about the ink and the printing and where you're going to put stuff. So I want to train you in on how to use the print shop as well. But you can do it at home. I'll show you. I work in my studio. I don't have a press here. I print everything by hand. You can see I hang things on the wall. These are big prints back here. I don't know if you guys can see them. So you don't need anything special, but it's nice to have the print shop because it's dedicated for you to use it. And there's tables that you can use and you can spread out. So I just want you to know it's available to you. Also, we're going to be working on a sign-up sheet. I want to kind of get a sense for, we can only have maybe people working in the print shop 5 people at a time. So if you send me an email, tell me what time during the day, like if it's Monday through Sunday, what times are you available? Like when do you think you can make it to the print shop, right? To do your homework. So give me a secondary time of when you think you would do your homework in printmaking in the studio so that I can get a sense for how many people are going to be in the lab. The reason why I need to know is in case something with COVID happens, I have to be able to notify the school and the state like who was working in there. Okay? It's kind of the honor system. You guys could go and work in there right now if you want. But I just wanted to make sure, like, tell me your times you're available. Just make sure you email that to me as well. Any questions about that before I move on? All right, so yeah, there we go.
When do you want us to email you by?
Well, you probably should email me before Thursday. Yeah, just send me an email and I'll make a list then, because you guys will email me and I can make a list. It'll be faster that way, right? And I'll probably create a sign up, a paper. Once we get going, I can create a paper sign up sheet in the studio. You could just sign in, right? We can get that going. But I thought we'll kind of ease into it as we go along here. Plus, I thought that it would be, I think it's good that we're meeting virtually in the beginning, because if we have to switch to virtual for some reason, at least we're kind of used to this environment, okay? Any other questions? Make sense so far? Yeah, Lauren?
So are we going to ever be in the studio to work on things? So like we'll actually be able to like print stuff too? Or are we just doing everything from home?
You could do both. You can do either one. I'm not going to limit you. You can use the studio, but I want to train you in on Thursday. That's why I want you to, right? If you can come on Thursday, I can train you in. But if you can't make it, don't worry. We'll have the virtual option, right? We'll just have somebody hold my phone, right? And film it. So don't worry. I will train you in the shop, but it's easier to see it in person, right? Because you're there and you can see the materials and you can see the ink slab and things like that. And then I can show you alternatives of ways you can work at home as well. Like I said, I have a studio at my house. I don't even have water here. So you can do a lot of printing wherever you are. It's just that the studio is nice because it's a place you can go and make a mess, right? It's not your room. This isn't my house, this is my studio. So there's a difference, right? So you guys will have access to the studio. So be patient. We'll still be able to do your printmaking here every day, but we'll just slowly kind of get you used to the lab. All right, so make sure you send me an email. That'd be fantastic. The other thing is I want to share my screen really quickly here and show you the Moodle site. Hold on. Let me cancel this really quick. I got to get to our Moodle site. Just so you know, everything will be on our Moodle site. So if you ever have any questions, can you guys see this? Okay, there we go. I've started week 2. I'll make sure I'll try to put the invite. It's the same invite the whole time, so you don't need to like worry about that. I have a video to your kit if you want to kind of know the names of the things that you bought. I went through the materials. I also have a reading and a looking that I want you to do here. It's called Dürer, an Inspiration. This is examples of Albrecht Dürer's, some of his prints and his techniques that he used. So this is kind of some inspiration. I'll be adding more of this. I don't want to add a lot because it gets a little overwhelming if I give you a lot of printmakers to look at, but as we go along, I'll be showing you more. And then I'll always have a to-do list, okay? And I might add to this as the, after a class on Tuesday, I might add to it. So just a heads up, because we might come up with a different plan, or we'll be talking about something. So just so you know, everything that you need to do for the week will be on Moodle. But it's important, and I'll also add the link to to the recording of the class. I forgot to hit record last week, so I hit record just now. So I'll make sure I add the recording, especially if we're going to be doing demos and talking about your drawings and things like that. Sound good? All right. So just check in on Moodle, right? If you have any questions, and if you have any questions about the work, feel free to email me anytime. Oh, interesting. That's JC just sent an email. It's funny because it was the same link, but I'll try. You might want to try the one at the very top in week 1. That might be the most accurate one, but it's all the same thing. So you guys had to come in through week 1 invite, is what you're saying?
It's
Lauren?
not that the problem isn't the link, it's that you put a time on the link, and so besides that time we can't get on.
Okay, I'll go and change that. Thanks for that heads up. I'll take the time. I thought that the time would be, it must be the date, right?
The date and time.
All right, I'll go fix that. Good catch, thank you. I'm not a big fan of Zoom. I like Google Meet. You just create a calendar invite and everybody shows up, Okay, what I'd like to do next is I want you to share your drawings, or pick one drawing out of your 6 to share with the group. The thing that I'd like to, kind of a prompt or a question that I'd like to start with, and if you don't like the question, you don't have to answer it, is to show your drawing and share with the group what you're excited about in your drawing. And that could be anything. It could be, I like the subject matter, I like the quality of the lines, I like the scale, I like the value shifts, whatever it might be, right? Is there something that you're enjoying about the drawing process? And it could be anything, so don't edit yourself. It could be anything. This is unique to you, so just, don't be shy about that. So I can start if you'd like, and then what I'll do is, to make it easier to keep track of everybody, I think what I'll do is I'll ask somebody else to share, and then after that person's done sharing, so let's say I pick on Abigail, I say, Abigail, you go next, then Abigail will pick the next person. Sound good? That way we get through everybody and I don't have to keep track of who went and who didn't, because there's 20 of us. All right, so I did this. I did a couple drawings. And what I'm excited about with this is I didn't think about my scale, right? My ratio. So I'm going to get my scissors. What I'm excited about with these drawings is that I could cut them up into my favorite part, right? So like, let's say I don't like this part. I can just come in and I'm going to cut it off. Right? Like, that's kind of a cool thing about drawing bigger than what you need, is that you can modify the drawing afterwards. So, and I'm kind of excited about that. And this is kind of, I think this will be a fun drawing to carve on my linoleum blocks. All right, so Abigail, I am gonna pick on you. You go next.
So this is can you see it yet?
Yeah.
It's a drawing of the boardwalk from the Big Bog that we went to. We took a family vacation to the Big Bog.
Cool.
And it was sort of gray and cloudy that day, but the ground was this bright, vivid green color because of all the moss, and it was very beautiful. So that's
Nice.
what I'm excited about drawing.
Can you pick somebody to go next, Abigail?
Yes. Johanna Breyer.
Hi. I did this. Wait here. Get that. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh. It's very detailed. Like, it's supposed to be like water. Like, I kind of got like this new like drawing idea like for water. This is really bad lighting. Super sorry.
Sorry, I can see it. Oh, you kind of froze up for a minute there, Johanna. Is everybody frozen?
Just
No.
her.
Just Johanna. Johanna, you froze up a little bit, so when you come back, let us know. Silly internet. Let's give her a second here, so maybe she'll come back. That's what I don't like about this stuff, right? Like, you're giving a presentation and you're the one that gets frozen. Is she back? No. There she is. Johanna, we lost you. You're back.
Yeah, it kicked me out.
That's right. We're waiting for you.
Oh,
You
I'm
can-
so sorry.
We just lost you when you said you got a lot of details and you're holding it up.
Oh, yeah. It's like a new kind of drawing technique that I found for water that I've been experimenting with. Some
Cool.
people said it looks like wood, so I'm still figuring it out. So,
Nice. All right. Can you pick somebody else?
oh, sure. Lauren.
Cool. So I have a bunch of these drawings, but the one I want to do is this one because I like drawing. I really was proud of like how I did the cat and stuff, and I like doing. I love the symmetry and kind of more simplistic than some of the other ones. Granted, this one is pretty easy, but I want to do a little challenge for myself. So
Okay, nice. Well, there's nothing wrong. Just so you know, Lauren, there's nothing wrong with easy.
yeah,
But if you want to make it more challenging, that's totally fair too. I totally
I could do the bird.
Yeah. All right, Lauren, you want to pick somebody?
I'll choose Isaac.
All right, Isaac, you got the floor.
I have the floor. So I decided mine to do on lined paper because why the heck not?
Yeah,
And I didn't know you can't see this, can you, at all?
I can see a little bit.
A little bit. So I originally did not know what I was drawing. I just started drawing, and it turned out to be a dog without even knowing it. So I will be drawing a very weird dog, or printing a very weird dog. And I think it actually looks very cool. So, yeah,
All right, sounds like you're excited about the dog.
I actually am very excited.
Nice. All right, awesome.
Uh,
Isaac, pick somebody.
Victoria.
So
Hi,
I
Victoria.
do this otter.
Nice.
I don't know. Otters are my favorite animal, so that's kind of why I decided to do it, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So
Awesome. So you're excited to do the otter because it's your favorite animal.
yeah,
Cool. All right, we want to pick somebody, Victoria?
yeah, Julia.
All right, Julia.
Okay, so this is mine. I actually painted it, and it was like really random at the beginning, and then it like started looking like faces. So it's kind of my favorite because like there's one, I don't know, like there I see another one there. So I'm really excited to be able to print it because I think it's cute.
Cool.
Lexi.
Okay, I drew this on my iPad, but I drew a bunch of hexagons with patterns in them, using lines and dots and stuff. So I like how intricate but simple it is at the same time.
So you like the simplicity and the variety. Nice. All right, Lexi, pick somebody.
The other Julia? Yeah, there's two Julias.
All right.
Yes, hi. Okay, one of mine I drew was like, oh my goodness, this little like bunny thing,
Nice.
under some mushroom. Yeah, I don't know if I like the little like leaf pattern thing, but we'll see. It's a work in progress. Okay, let's go JC.
Okay, I did mine digitally, but I saved it to my phone, so I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Mine has a little bit of a deeper meaning, but I really like doing line work with the human body, just because it shows like how intricate like God's plans are and how it comes together, even though it's like simple on the outside. Like you can see parts of it, but it makes a big picture as a whole.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, JC. Okay, you want to pick somebody?
Sarah.
Sarah.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah.
So I did mine on my iPad as well, and I don't know, I just had the word strawberry in my head, so
Nice.
I drew a strawberry, and then I have
Oh.
like my messy initials throughout the thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, you want to pick somebody?
Yes, let me scroll through and find someone who has Jenna.
Okay, so I did mine. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see, but I did it with the intent of like mountains kind of in mind, and then it kind of like went from there. So, yeah.
I like it. It's like a cubist mountain.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you excited about? Jenna, what are you excited about?
I don't know. I like how it's just so like abstract. Like I would usually like wouldn't go for something like that. It's not like typically what I would choose to.
Right. So you
go
brought in your scope.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Right, Jenna,
Okay,
feel free to
I'll
pick
go
somebody.
with Eliana.
Hello.
Hello.
I drew a goldfish.
Cool.
It's my goldfish. Her name is Mavis. I drew it during one of my other classes, and I love her. So that's why I'm excited, because I love her.
Nice. Yeah, I like drawing in class. That's what I spent my whole college career doing. I pay attention better when I'm drawing, actually. So, all right, you want to pick somebody, Eliana?
How about Cora?
Cora. You're on mute.
I actually don't have mine because I left it on my computer in my room and my roommate's sleeping.
Well, just tell us what you drew then.
So I drew like a mountain range with like the sun setting. This was kind of simple, but.
That's all right. All right, so sunset.
Mhm.
What are you excited about with that drawing?
I kind of liked the simplicity of it, I guess.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Love it. All right. Do we have anybody left to pick? I think we do. Lily, London hasn't gone yet. Natalie, go ahead and pick somebody, Cora.
Let's do London.
All right, London, let's see what you got.
Okay, so I did kind of just like different creatures, I guess.
Cool.
You can see them.
Yeah, I can see them.
So I don't know. I was just kind of like, I like to draw things that are intriguing. So yeah, I don't know. I thought they were kind of intriguing creatures. So I'm excited.
So
to
are
do that.
you excited that they're creatures? Is that what you're excited about?
I don't know. I like the look of them, I guess.
Okay. Like the way they turned out.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that's a good reason. All right, you want to pick somebody, London? Raise your hand if you haven't been picked yet, so she knows who to pick from.
I think Jennifer still has to go.
All right, Jennifer.
Okay, so I chose this one. It's a chubby bird head.
Nice.
Because it's my bird, and I was just sketching her, and yeah.
What kind of bird is it?
A conure.
Conure. Okay, cool. So you're excited because it's your bird.
Yeah.
All right, Jennifer, you want to pick somebody? It looks like we have Natalie, Lily, and Anna, right? And Clint, you haven't gone yet.
Then I'll do Lily.
Okay.
So I did this just little simple leaf drawing. I'm always doodling leaves in class on my notes, and so I figured why not do it for this? And then I'm just excited because she's really just cute and simple, and I think it would look good on a print.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks. Lily, you want to pick? It looks like we have Natalie and Clint. Is that right? Left?
Clint.
Am I missing anybody? Oh, and Anna. What do you want to pick, Lily?
I'll pick Clint.
Clint, are you there? Oh, you're on mute. There you go.
Hey.
Hey, Clint.
Okay. I drew a orange peel.
Nice.
I just wanted to start simple and then ease my way into something more complicated. just to get the hang
Good
of it.
call.
So
Good call.
Yep. And then
All right,
who's
you've got Anna, and who else? Raise your hand. And Natalie.
okay. I'll do Anna.
All right, Anna, you're next. And then Natalie, I guess you're last, but not least.
I drew a fingerprint. You
Cool.
can kind of see that.
Yeah, nice.
I just like how unique fingerprints are, and they're fun to draw. So.
Nice. Yeah, that's fun because it's simple but detailed.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Annie. All right, we have Natalie left, right?
Is she left? She left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not like a super flowery person, but my sister's been begging me to get a tattoo with her, and so these are all like the different ideas, and I just like decided to draw them. So, but I think they're super simple, and I forgot who just said that about keeping it simple for the first one.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good idea.
Awesome. So that's a tattoo idea.
Mm-hmm.
How are you gonna choose? How are you gonna choose which one?
Probably honestly the most simple one because it's my first one. So
Okay. All right. I'm just messaging everybody that I'm recording this. So if you got bumped, you can come back. Okay. Especially if when I'm giving the demo here in a little bit on how to transfer your drawings or think about transferring your drawings to your Lino blocks, your blocks. Just so a heads up, I'll be recording this and I'll post the recording on Moodle. And and that Moodle link, I'll make sure I fix that after class, okay? Or I'll just create a new one every week and we'll just use that. Whatever, right? We'll figure it out. So thanks for doing that. I'm excited to see all of your drawings turned into prints. So our next step is how do we get your drawing onto your linoleum, right? And there's a couple different ways to do this. So I'm just gonna show you what I think are the easiest ways, but it's not limited to this. You can invent your own way too. Did anybody look at the Mets, the link that I added on the first week of the steps? And did you notice that in that video they showed you how to transfer a drawing? Did anybody notice that? So I'm not going to show you that one. You can go back and look at that one, but that's another way of doing it. I got to get a tool real quick. All right. So there's a couple different ways you can approach this. The cheekiest way, I'm going to be cheeky. The cheekiest thing you can do is, or the easiest thing you can do is just redraw it on your block, right? So I just had a Sharpie marker and I just redrew my drawing. Now I changed it a little bit, right? Like I just used the idea. I didn't literally use my drawing. I just redrew it. So those of you who feel confident in your drawing skills, you can just redraw it. And sometimes it turns out better than your first drawing. Now I drew this in Sharpie marker. So if I made a mistake, I'd have to use like fingernail polish remover or some acetone to take it off, right? Like I have to kind of live with my marks. But you can also use pencil and you can erase it. It doesn't matter what you draw with. You can draw with pencil. Sometimes I draw with ballpoint pen because ballpoint pen comes off with fingernail polish remover. So you can use a range of things. So the most straightforward way to get your image on your linoleum is to draw on it. Does that make sense? It's super easy. That's what I do. In fact, usually when I'm making woodblock prints like this, I don't even draw these. I just draw straight onto here. Because it's kind of like, for me, this is adding a second step, or you know what I mean? Like this is adding a step when I can just draw onto here. But you know, sometimes it's good to draw your idea and kind of play around with it. So that's why it's important to do preparatory work. Another thing you can do is you can draw with alternative materials, and this comes in handy a little bit when we carve it. So this, you can't tell, can you guys see up close? That's tape. I drew with tape. So I drew the same image with tape. And that's just another way of drawing on it. And the nice thing about the tape is I can take it off, right? It doesn't like do anything to it. So I drew with tape. The reason why I'm showing you these options is so that you kind of find a way that works for you. There isn't one better way than another. The best way is the way that you like to do it. Does that make sense? There's no one method that's better than another, because you guys all have different temperaments. I'm assuming you all are different, and you have different ways of moving through space, and you have different ways of thinking and solving problems. So just the important thing about printmaking is to understand the concept more than the recipe. And what I mean by that is, how many of you, when you're making, cookies, you follow the recipe, right? You just follow the recipe. But my guess is, if I asked you to make cookies without the recipe, you would just use the concept, right? Flour, water, sugar, eggs, chocolate chips, whatever. You'd use the concept, right? You know the concept and you can make it work. So printmaking is much more about the concept than the recipe, because everybody's different and everybody has a different temperament. And if I made you all do it the same way, some of you'd be happy and some of you'd be really unhappy, because I'd be forcing a system on you that doesn't work for your hands, your eye, your temperament, or whatever. So it's the same as for drawing, right? Some of you like to draw on paper. Some of you like to draw digitally, and others, like me, might like to draw with tape, right? Just so you know, everything that I present to you has alternative options, and you're free to use the alternative options. Does that make sense to the group? Give yourself the flexibility to do it differently than I've presented it evenly, if that makes sense to you, to do it a different way. But the most obvious way to do it is just to draw on your blocks. Another way to do it is to take this and try to transfer it to your linoleum, right? Like I could take this and put it on a fresh one somehow, right? If I could put this on here and make it transfer, then I could, right? Then I would just have to trace it. Or I could just carve it. I wouldn't have to do anything. I'm gonna try something. So you guys all received in your kit a Baron. This is called a Baron. I'm gonna try something. I drew this in soft graphite. I wanna see if I can make it transfer by just using pressure from my hand and the Baron. So watch this. Let me see, can you guys see it? All right, you guys, I'm gonna push this back. This will work. I'm gonna set up a little better system. There we go. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my drawing, I'm gonna set it down, and I'm gonna take my Baron, watch this. I'm gonna see if it works. Oh, it's working. And I'm gonna press pretty hard. So you have to draw with charcoal for this, or not charcoal, but draw with graphite, like a really soft pencil, to make this work. Look at that cool? So if you drew in soft pencil, like number 6 pencil, you could transfer it like that. Isn't that cool? So there's different ways that you can get it on there. And that's a nice way to do it. Now, if you drew in pen or you drew in something that isn't soft graphite, you could trace over the top of it and then do it. So you could, let's say you drew, like I have this is a tape drawing. Let's say I wanted to transfer that. I could take my graphite pencil and I could draw on top of it and then do the same thing. Right? I could just draw right on top of this, like this. And then set it down and have the same effect. So there's different ways to approach transferring. Any questions so far? I know that's kind of a lot of information in a way. It's simple, but it's a lot of information. Any questions about getting, yeah, Abigail?
There's 2 sides to the wood block. One has like something on it, like a plasticky layer or something.
Yeah,
Which
so
side do you put
this thin layer is the linoleum that you want to carve.
Mm-hmm.
You could carve on this if you wanted to, but this is MDF. This is like sawdust that's been glued together.
Mm-hmm.
You can do both sides. And I actually was thinking, we're going to do an assignment where we use this, but we'll start, good question, with the linoleum side, this kind of like orangey, browny, light tan thing, right, on the front. Any other questions about transferring or the materials? Yeah, all right.
So What about the so there's like a fuzzy side on that stamp thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you use that for? Or is that just like something for your hand?
Well, it makes your handle, it makes it a little softer for your hand. We use this for printing. You wouldn't want to use that for transferring. We use this when we're printing, and this helps tack down your paper to your ink. We'll talk about that when we print. We're going to start printing on Tuesday because it's going to take some time for you to carve your images and get used to the materials and the carving tools. But yeah, good point. There's a soft side. We call this felt. This is a piece of felt that's been glued to this Baron. And so the other thing that's important, guys, is I'm going to use the actual terms that are used in printmaking. So it's going to be important as we go along that you absorb the new language. So I won't require it at the beginning, but later on I might say, hey, what is this? This is a Baron. So this is important because if you showed up at somebody's print shop and you say, hey, where's your brayer? They'd be like, oh, they're over there, right? But if you said, hey, where's your rollers? They might be like, we don't have rollers. So the language and the vocabulary is important, but I'm not going to, make you know it right away, but I'm going to be using the accurate terms. So just pay attention. So this is your Baron, and this is what you use to print, but you can also use it to transfer your drawing. Any questions before we move on to your carving tools? All right, so then just as an example, this is a piece of linoleum that hasn't been mounted to a block. So you can get linoleum in different colors and in different formats. So if you guys get hooked on relief prints, then you guys know, you just know you have options. You have mounted linoleum and you have unmounted linoleum. And there's qualities to both of these that are nice. There's one isn't better than the other, it's just different. Okay. All right, so in your kit you had these linoleum carving tools. And what's cool about these is they're designed for linoleum and they're not super expensive. And I'm gonna show you something cool. You can put all your knives, your different blades in the tool. So I'm gonna take them out and then I'm gonna describe each one of the blades to you. And then I'll show you how to carve safely. I won't carve for hours on end, don't worry. But I want to show you how to use these safely, because guess what the number one thing people do with these is, if they don't use them correctly. Jennifer? You have an idea?
Is it hurt themselves?
Yeah, they hurt themselves. Johanna, you said you had your hand up? No?
No, I just meant like you're gonna cut your finger.
They carve and then they carve too hard and then it skips out and they jam themselves in their hand, right? Because they're like doing this and then they miss and then they jab themselves. So it might pay. We have a first aid kit in the print shop, but you might pay to have some Band-Aids nearby at your house or your dorm or something. All right, I'm just taking these out. I just wanted to show you how you could store these blades so they didn't, fly around loose. So in the back of your handle is an opening, and you could put all your carving stuff in there. Isn't that cool? So you can store it in there. I'm going to keep this one out because we're going to use it. Isn't that cool? So you can store all your blades in the handle. And then you can just throw this away. The way this works is that you loosen this up and you slide. So this is the carving end right here. This is the end that goes into the tool handle. You slide this down like this, and then you just tighten the little knob here. Okay? It's pretty straightforward. I think you guys can figure it out. And then when you want to swap blades, you just take this one out and then you grab another one that you want. And you have an assortment of blades in your kit or with these carving tools. You have this thing here This is called a V gouge. It's really tiny. It has like a V in it. You see that? I've got another, hold on here. I have some other tools. It's very easier to see. I have a bigger one so you can see it here. This is a bigger V gouge. You see that? It's just shaped like that, but really small. And what's nice about the V gouge is that you can use it to outline something, or you can use it to make a bunch of small marks if need be. I'm going to be adding a link to a master wood carver from Japan, and you can see how a master wood carver uses these tools because it's really quite amazing. But the different tools do different things, so you kind of have to experiment with them and see what you like. So this first drawing, I'm going to be asking you to maybe experiment with it, but it comes with a couple different things. This is a blade. This is like an X-Acto blade. And what's cool about this is if it gets dull, you can sharpen it. We have a bigger U gouge. This is a U gouge. See, it's shaped like a U or a C. You have a bigger V gouge, and you have a smaller U gouge. So you have a range of gouges that make different marks. Any questions about this? Be careful with these. These are sharp, but they're, you don't have to be like super careful, but just be careful. You guys are all human beings. My guess is you don't want to harm yourself for the most part, right? You might dabble in harming yourself, but you're not really interested in harming yourself. So be careful with this, but you don't have to be overly cautious. Just be cautious, right? Just be, respectful of the sharp tools. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you briefly how to use this to be safe, because I want you to kind of explore the different gouges and the different marks that they make. One of the things that some of you are going to discover is that your drawings are going to change because you ultimately have to draw with these gouges. These gouges are going to be making the mark. So I'm just going to show you an image really quick on Moodle. So hold on here so that you get what I mean. So I've included this link. It's right here. It's Durr's Inspiration. So this is a wood block. It's not linoleum. This is a wood block that's been carved with the same tools as I'm showing you. Very similar tools, or tools like this, like woodworking tools, gouges. What are your guys' response to this? This is a print. This was made and carved off a wood block. Even the type up here, even the words. Any initial responses? Don't be shy.
He's
It takes
crazy.
a lot of time.
He's crazy. It takes a lot of time.
Also, like, how did he get all the letters to be the same?
Yeah,
And it's detailed.
it's detailed. Well, I always like jokingly say this just takes time. Every single one of you could do this. It just takes time and patience, right? But patience, what I've discovered about patience is really easily come by if you're passionate about what you're doing. So the trick is to do the thing that you're passionate about, because you guys all have experienced this. If you're passionate about something, you're patient, and you're patient with yourself and you're patient with others. Right? If you're impatient, you're probably striving for something, you're trying to win. But if you're passionate about something, that's different than winning. You can have passion for winning, but even there, if you're passionate about winning, you might be patient with others because you need those people to help you win, right? Yeah, Abigail.
So does that mean to do a drawing like this, you have to love rhinos? Like you had to love rhinos to do the drawing?
Probably, or you have to love some reason to make the rhino. Right? Either love the rhino or there's some reason you want to make it. Like another way that makes people love things or be passionate is get paid good money to do it. So if I paid you guys $2,000 to carve that exactly like that is, how many of you would do it? If I gave you $2,000, I said, I want that rhino exactly the way he carved it. How many of you would take me up on it? No, not everybody. A handful of people. Right, so money is a motivator for some people, not everybody. and it's also practice, right? You have to practice doing this. It's not just, you know, just doesn't just happen. You practice it, but you also love it. You can tell he loves this rhino. This is Albrecht Dürer's rhinoceros. It's pretty famous. It was made in 1515, if you look at the date here. So that's an example of detail. Here's another one. Look at this. That's even more detailed, right? This is one of the blocks. I wanted to show you this. This is what his wood blocks look like after they've been carved and printed. Isn't that beautiful? I think this is amazing. I wonder if they have, we got to find the, oh, it's at the, this is at the Met. We could actually go see it. Let's see if it takes us there. Oh, it's just a map. Well, if you ever go to the Met, now you know how to find that print. So I just giving you a sense for all the detail that you can achieve. Okay. I have another image that I want to show you. Here's a simpler one. So even this, it seems complicated, but it's just basically a carving of a drawing. So you draw, and then you carve all the lines, right? You carve all the information that isn't the line, and you're left with the line. So if you have patience and you're really interested in detail, you can achieve a lot of detail in relief printmaking, but you can also be quite simple with it. I'm not saying this is the standard that you have to set yourself to. I'm just using this as an example, okay? Because like I showed you, I'm going for this, right? I'm not going for, you know, this. I could if I wanted to, but I'm not interested in the Last Supper right now. But maybe someday I will be. Just gives you a kind of a sense for the range of things you can do. With the reason I wanted to show this to you is that you get a sense for what you can do, right? If you wanted to. It's just a matter of time and patience and kind of stick-to-itiveness. It's not really hard to do. You just got to want to do it. But you can also be quite simple, which is just as fun. There's another thing that I'm going to send you a link. Have any of you come across on social media or on YouTube, there's a group of people who run around printing manhole covers? Has anybody seen that? You could Google that if you want. It's really interesting. They run around and they ink up manhole covers and different things in cities, and then they put t-shirts on them and they print them. So that's the kind of the cool thing about relief printmaking, is that it's quite a range of things that you can do. Yeah, so Ileana's seen them. So if I find, I'm going to try to find that link to that video so you can see that. It's pretty cool. But I just wanted you to see what you can do with these tools if you so desired. So let me just show you really quickly how to be safe with these, okay? The main thing is I want you to be safe. We don't need to worry about you doing it right or wrong, because it's really up to you how you want to do it. Let's push this back. Oh, all right. Can you guys see this? I'm just going to show you how to be safe. So the first thing is you don't want to do this, because you're going to miss and you're going to poke yourself. So the number one rule when using relief tools is to keep your hand, your other hand, your dominant hand, your less dominant hand behind you. See what I'm doing? And you carve like this. Because if you put your hand here, you're gonna poke yourself, and then you're gonna need a Band-Aid, or you're gonna need to go to get stitches. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way, right? Like you poke yourself. But you keep your hand behind your hand and you move the block around, right? Instead of moving this hand around to get to spots, you move the block and you go like this, or you move the block and you go like this, okay? So you just have to move the block around rather than your hand around. You just got to kind of change your habits a little bit, because it's different than drawing, right? Because drawing, you can move your hand around wherever you want, but when you're carving, you got to be careful. So I have to ask myself a question. How do I want to carve this, right? Do I want this to look like an Albrecht Dürer and all the black lines, is that this thing prints exactly the way that it looks, or do I want to change the way it looks? I can make some decisions, right? Because I haven't carved this yet. So there's a couple different things I can do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by carving these spaces right here, right? The negative spaces, right? I'm going to carve those first. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then, but mostly I'm showing you how to be safe and how to carve with this small V gouge. All right, so here we go. If you have any questions, fire away. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping my hand behind my other hand, and I just gradually kind of grab some linoleum, and then I slowly push it along the edge. I'm going along the edge, I'll show you, of my black line. I'm going to kind of outline it here. You can also hold it down like this. Some people clamp it down. You could clamp it down if you wanted. And it's okay if you carve into your lines or something. It's not, nobody said you have to follow it perfectly. Because no one will know once you've printed it. You can kind of see, you guys see where it carved there with the highlights a little bit? So what I did is I just went on the interior and I kind of just traced it around the interior. And then what I would do is I'd go do that to all those negative spaces. How long do you think that should take? How long would that take me, do you think, to do it right? Any guesses?
A day?
Yeah, it could probably take a day. Notice even if I hold it down, I'm keeping my hand out of the way. I don't think this will take me very long. Maybe a day. But when I say a day, I think for me, less than 8 hours probably. Well, here's the thing. Every single thing you do to here is going to print. It's like cause and effect. So if you take your time here, you're going to be happy with how it prints. So if you just kind of take your time. And I would just go through this and just outline everything. It's actually quite addicting. I think some of you will find that you really enjoy the carving.
I have a question.
Yeah, fire away.
Do the places you carve, do they get ink on them?
That's a great question. No, the places that I'm carving will be white. They won't get ink on them. So I'm carving away the information that I don't want to print.
When you are carving your negative space out, how deep are you going?
I'm not going very deep. You don't need to make a very deep mark for it to work. I mean, we can always go deeper later if we wanted to. Now, another tool that you can use in your kit, I'm not going to take the time to get it out. I'm just going to use this one because I'm lazy, is this. This is a knife blade. This is like an X-Acto blade, okay? Another thing you can do, if you want to be really, really accurate, like Durer, you want to use this. This is even more time consuming. And this is why I'm going to show you a link to a Japanese master printer who carves things really detailed. So if you're interested in detail, this is actually the tool that you want. So watch this. So this, I go around, I trace around my lines. And then I have to come back and I have to undercut it. I'll show you this in person too, but this is even a little more time consuming, but it's the most accurate. You can get every single detail of your drawing to show up if you do it this way. So you might even need to get like some kind of magnification to see what you're doing, right? So what I'm doing is I'm carving two lines. I'm carving straight down and then I'm carving back like a bevel back to that line that I've carved. I'll show you here in a second. And in this case, you can kind of go as deep as you want. You can see that there. And if not, I'll bring this block on Thursday and you guys can see it more closely. And I'll take some pictures and maybe even post it on Moodle. So you can use this tool to trace everything. It's a little more accurate. Whereas with this little tool, with the V-gouge, you miss and you kind of go into your little lines. You see next to my finger, I went into my lines. Which is fine. It's just that it's not as careful of a tool as this. So with your first drawing, I kind of want you to explore the different tools and not get too upset about if one thing happens to another, because it is what it is. These tools do what they do, and you kind of have to find the one that you like, or the series of ones that you like, and you would just spend your time doing this. In the beginning, it seems a little awkward, but you'll eventually get used to it. It's like anything else, you just have to practice it. Another thing, I just want to show you one more tool that comes in your kit. This is a little bit bigger U-gouge. Is how you can use the U-gouge to make series of marks, like cross-hatched marks or lines, and you can be really efficient with it. So I'll make one of these negative spaces that way, and I'll show it to you. So can actually show another way of thinking. This is a way of, you can use the marks that you're making with your tool or your carving tool as part of your drawing style. I'm going to use the blade here. My finger, so look at that. See that? So I use the tool as a way to make marks, like drawing marks. So I might leave that because those little lines will show up in my print. So the main thing is you want to keep your hand behind your other hand. You want to be safe. So what I'd like you guys to do between now and next Tuesday is I want you to carve your blocks. It's going to take you a little while. Transfer your drawing and carve it. And then in class on Thursday, I'm going to be showing you how to print so that you can get ready for that. And that might even have you have some ideas of how you might want to finish carving your print, or how you're going to set up in your room. If those of you who are interested in printing in your room, I'll show you some options. And then those of you who want to learn how to print, be in the shop, you'll learn how to use the shop as well, okay? So you can use the shop for your printing needs. Any questions about transferring your drawing, carving, using your linoleum tool, carving tools? What you'll discover, how many of you changed your mind what you want to draw based on seeing how you carve? Anybody like, oh, wait a minute, I got to change what I'm doing? Lauren, a little bit?
I think I'm going to go with the bird.
Yeah. So what happens is sometimes you decide what to make based on what the tool can and cannot do. What I've discovered though is you can carve almost any draw. If you can draw it in black and white, you can carve it. Right? Like if you can draw it, you can carve it. You just have to be patient. So I wouldn't be too concerned if you feel like you have a really complicated thing. No big deal. You just carve it, or make it smaller, right? Like not make it as big or something. No questions? Does this make sense? So be patient in the beginning of printmaking. Printmaking is a lot of like demonstrations like this in the beginning, but they're useful because then you learn how to use the tools and the range of things that you can do. But then once you've learned it, you get to work independently more, right? Like, okay, then I can say, I want you to make 6 prints and bring them to class. I don't have to show you how to make prints all the time. Right? I can just say, hey, make 6 more prints, but maybe, raise it up a notch. So just be patient in the beginning. There's some demonstrations of how to use the tools, how to use the space, how to be safe, how to be clean, how to clean up after yourself, et cetera, et cetera. All right, I'm just going to show you one more thing and then I'll let you guys go. If you have any questions, you can email me. If not, you can save your questions for Thursday. Yeah, Gabrielle.
How many of our prints should we try to get carved by Tuesday?
I'd like you to have it all carved by Tuesday.
Okay, all 4?
Oh, no. Okay, great question. All you have to do is pick one of your images to make a print of. Sorry, I didn't mention that. So you just have to pick one drawing that you really like and then transfer it to your block or redraw it on your block and then start carving it. Does that make sense? Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, I'm gonna show you one more thing, just for inspiration. You're gonna love this. So check this out. These are all woodblock prints, carved exactly like I just showed you, but printed in color. These are all by, this is by Hokusai, who's a famous Japanese illustrator and printmaker from the late 1800s or the late 1700s, early 1800s in Japan, which we refer to as the Edo period in Japan. Isn't that cool? These are all hand carved from wood. So similar to Albrecht Dürer. Yes, Abigail.
Where are his lines?
Pardon me?
Where are the lines that he carved?
Right here, this blue line. All these are lines. Yeah, it's sophisticated. These are all carved. This is all carved. See down here? Isn't that cool? See it? But there are multiple blocks, so there's different colors. There's like 6 different blocks probably that they used to print this. Isn't that cool? So very precise. These are all carved with a knife blade, mostly. And so it's just literally carving out a drawing and then printing it in its different blocks. So this green is a block, this blue and this dark blue are a block. The outline of Mount Fuji is a block. These trees are their own block. Probably the trees in Mount Fuji are on the same block. I'm gonna add a link to a Japanese woodblock carver, master carver, and you guys will get a sense for it. Pretty cool, huh? So this is another thing you can do with relief printmaking. Isn't that beautiful? These are called the 36 views of Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is a sacred mountain in Japan. It's been an important sacred mountain for a long time, for centuries in Japan. And so this is called the 36 Mountain Views of Fuji. So you see Mount Fuji depicted from the different locations around modern day Tokyo. But it used to be called Edo. Somebody's having a good time. All right. So, any questions before we sign off here? Don't be afraid to just jump right in. Anna, I didn't receive your email. Can you resend that? Yeah, if you don't have your kits yet, don't worry. You can still get them. You have time. I just, you got to get on it or find some kind of materials or alternative. If you're having some issues with your materials, let me know. I might have some stuff kicking around the print shop that you can use until you get your kit. So just let me know, okay? Because I might have some materials in the print shop. All right.
Webpaint is open, so.
Pardon me?
Webpaint is open to go inside and stuff, and that's where I got my kit, so it's all
Great.
good there.
Thanks, Lauren. All right, guys. Well, have a good rest of your day. I'll make sure I put the recording of this on Moodle. Sound good? All right. See you on Thursday. So make sure you send me an email about what time you want to come on Thursday, whether it be 10:50 or 11:40. Okay? All right, great. See you guys.